Thanks to all our active patrons who have contributed a lifetime of $100 or more to reach Garuk Dong level status.
Here is the list of those special patrons in order of contributions.
If you would like to support our show, check out the CommanderSmiths at patreon.com. Welcome to the CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowery Smith.
Don't worry.
We're cousins.
Lowery, you don't have your face light on, do you? You're not so bright right now.
You're right. You're right. I missed it.
I was like, you're really dark right now. There we go. Now I can see your bright, shiny face.
There we go.
It is.
It's Friday.
Glad I still have this button up.
Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Partying.
I'm surprised we don't have a ton of shit posts.
Such a bad song. It's another Friday episode. I love that we have
It's
this.
almost as bad as Limp Bizkit right there.
Hey, Limp Bizkit's not bad. It's pretty good. It's good stuff.
When you rhyme the same word with the same word, it's not good.
It's called rhyming. Yes, it is Friday, another Friday edition. I am heading out of town once again. This is my last, I think, vacation for the summer. So we had to get this one in, not skipping another episode. We just decided to do a Friday one.
Yes.
It's Friday.
It's all right. I got the short buttons in there.
This is the problem when you have the power.
I have the power. Okay, so what are we doing today? We're going to kind of get to it pretty quick because I still have to pack some stuff. So we're going to get to things pretty quick today.
Okay, so we have Stump the Smith Savant, who is...
Jacob
Who's doing
Newman is our Jacob Newman is our stumper for this week.
Okay, and what card did he choose?
Good try. This I'm gonna be honest with you. This one's gonna be tough. I don't know if you're gonna get this one or not. Just
Driving Bluff.
Shit, you got it. No shit.
All right. And then
we still we have the giveaway is where is it? The card's in here somewhere. I just did all my
we're giving away a land.
Oh yeah. Where is that? It's up here. That guy
taps,
right there.
Gives a little spirit thing, but any kind of mana for you.
Woo!
It's a cool card.
Yeah. So that's the Double Masters one. So that is the giveaway. And we are on week 2 of that. We got an interesting staple versus results.
Oh,
yes, it's very interesting. But what is our staple versus for this week? We got
I'm going to be doing Sakura Tri-Builder, and you are doing
Nature's Lore. Yes, so this should be a battle, dude. Both are over in 100,000 decks on EDH Rec. So. They're both used.
These are true staples here.
That's staple verses. And then what's our main topic for today? It's the kind of we talked about on Monday or whatever. This week's podcast, you kind of were like, hey, this would be a good topic. And we kind of went with it. So
yeah, we're going to specifically talk about the rules that we build decks by and try and play by. And then have those discussions. You know, what does it mean? Why are they there? And then what we do in our deck building to replace what's going on there.
What we've kind of hindered, I would say it's a hindrance, but it's not. We've done it to make the game more fun for us in a way, and we'll kind of go through all that. We've talked about it a bunch, you know, the tutors, the counter spells, the infinite combo stuff, but we're going to kind of get into more detail of things with that. So. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Good podcast.
Cool.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. No, I'm just kidding.
Bye.
Once again, it is Friday. So if, I think we didn't advertise this episode as much. We said it on the podcast. But we didn't market it like we normally do, saying that we're going to have the podcast. I was fucking busy today, so I wasn't able to make a thumbnail and get all that fun stuff. So, but if there are people on and they want to, we still have the shots in play now. For the donation stuff or whatever. Got it all ready. So Lowery's over his COVID.
Super do that. Let's do it.
Yeah. So anything happened in the last couple days? There really isn't much. You had your spotlight stuff, and we'll talk about that in a second in the tags. But I don't really have anything to talk about because I was just getting stuff ready. So I don't have life stuff.
I'm good.
To chat. Okay. All right. We're gonna get to the fastest we've ever gotten to tags ever.
Wow. What are we? 5 minutes in?
What is it? 7 minutes and 5 seconds in. Well, 5 minutes in, I guess, technically, because the first 2 minutes is our buffer
Yeah,
zone.
let's extend this longer.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So you guys can become a patron by donating $1 or more. That gets you into the Discord, gets you playing games on the Discord. It's starting to ramp up a little bit more. It'll be more once we are done with our vacation stuff this summer. $5 or more gets you proxies each month. You can choose regular proxies. If you get higher tiers, you can get foil ones. That is the financial way to support the show. That helps us pay for everything that we do here, giveaways, our equipment, everything. So thank you guys for patrons that have donated and for all that. So, but the other way you can donate is, like I mentioned before, is you can just jump on and do a one-time donation while we're doing this live. There is the $1 is the Bean Boozled thingy. $5 is the Fire Bean Boozled. And then I believe it's $10 is both of us take a shot. It will be Malort shot at some point, but right now we just have our dirty, gross shots or whatever. So
they're playing right now. Sweet.
Literally playing right now? What's playing
They're
right now?
literally playing right now.
Who's playing?
At least Cole, I think. Yeah, we includes him.
Oh, they're playing games right now. Oh, yeah. I forgot. The Discord was getting a game together to play right now. So that's what they're doing right now. That's why
But we're gonna have no interaction.
Yeah, that's why that's where Renshai isn't here. Cole's multitasking, so he's very talented. The other guys are not talented. You guys suck. No, I'm just kidding. But that's also YouTube is where you can watch us. Watch this podcast live. You can watch all our stuff that we do. Curated MTG is the same as what it was. Oh, no, we had a Friday one. What was the Friday one?
Yeah.
It's Friday.
What's the Friday one?
Light Minefield, something like that.
Oh, yeah. What was that one? I actually didn't watch that one through. Sorry, I apologize.
Sweet, thanks. No, that's
I apologize.
It's white, 2 colorless for an enchantment, and then anytime a creature attacks, that enchantment deals damage to it equal to the amount of creatures that are attacking. So if you attack with 5 1/1s, they're all going to be dealt 5 damage. And
so basically eliminates the little attackers.
Yep.
Because
you end up like Voltron does really well with it.
Yeah.
You know, when you're attacking with a 7/7, 1 damage isn't going to do a whole ton. So it's sweet. You could also give your creatures like protection from white, so it doesn't matter, or indestructible. And then I also talk about commanders that it goes well with.
Sweet. So yeah, check those out. That's Curated MTG Mondays and Fridays. Biggest thing with those is just watch them through, give it a like. That's how you guys make it go viral. We also have Spotlight, which you did last night as well. So you were busy this week. You were finishing, what is it, Rafine? Was that what you were doing?
No, Savant, Chronoclasm. So it's like flashback, but also like Stuffy Doll style. So like dealing a ton of damage to a bunch of creatures and then redirecting that damage to the creatures to, I guess it's not, but you know, whatever. Also dealing it to players and being able to double up on spells with the flashback and playing from the graveyard. So I don't know how it's going to go, but I think it's going to be, I like it. I think I like it better than the first iteration I did a couple years ago.
Nice. And that is finished now because that was your second video of it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, check those out. Any of the Spotlight stuff, or when we do MTG Switcheroos, where we're just doing upgrades to decks. You didn't take apart a deck. You just destroyed. You didn't have that deck anymore, and now you just redid it, right?
Yeah. I had it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, because I don't even remember you playing that deck. I was like, I don't remember this commander at all.
It was pretty bad. it was really expensive and slow, and that still might be the case here, but we'll see if the Stuffy Doll idea works with it. Next week, I'm going to plan on building Ishin from.
That'll be fun. Yeah, that'll be
Beyond
fun.
Dynasty. So pulling those cards right now, it's looking pretty cool. I like it so far.
You had to do something with the double up because I kept stealing all the double ups. I did the double up with Yarok and ETBs, and then I did double up with Teysa on death triggers. I was about to take the double up on attacks, but you beat me to it. No, I wasn't ever going to take that, but you got one.
There we go.
We got one. All right. Other stuff on YouTube. We got Proxy Time. There isn't going to be one this month, which is kind of weird because I might be able to get one Sunday, but I got proxies that are being made. Just none of it is on video. So I made 3 or 4 of them already. I'll be doing more. It's just something that I do for fun.
I mean, you can record when you're doing it, right? Well, I guess it's not
really.
It's more random.
Yeah.
All right.
Most of the proxies I'll be making will probably be like driving in the car, sitting. Well, that actually might be tough.
Oh,
but
that's dangerous.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not driving.
So you think you got a Tesla that isn't going to work?
No,
right?
Cindy will be driving. Like women can drive, Lowery. Whether you know it or not, women are allowed to drive. It's a thing. Don't look so surprised.
I thought we took all the rights away at this point. What?
God. I feel like a jerk for laughing at that, but what are you drinking there, Larry?
That's sarcasm. Yeah. All right, I'm drinking Toppling Goliath Pompeii Mosaic Hopped Indian Pale Ale. It is a delicious one. It's a little old on me, but it's still very good.
I have a Moose Lake Brewing Company, so from Moose Lake, Minnesota, Log Roller IPA. So it's pretty delicious. I also have a sour that I'll hit that one next. I'm almost done with this one. The sour is like 3 different. Let me grab it because that's gonna be my next one. All right, so the sour is Froze Brains.
What is that? The French frozen or what?
Froze. Look at that. Isn't that Froze? Wait, turn it that way.
Froze.
Has a little has the little thingy above the
you're
E.
probably right. Froze.
And it says Brains, and it's a double fruit smoothie sour. So we'll see how that is.
I'll bet you that's good.
That's from Drecker Fargo.
Shit, how'd you get that?
One of my liquor stores that I don't normally go to had it.
Man, Ryan W. and hockey probably just went, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, so that one's my next one. Where the hell was I? Oh, that was Proxy Time. We have gameplay stuff. We have battle boxes, which was this week or last week as well. We talked about that before. Check all of those videos out. There's a ton of content with YouTube. So the biggest thing is subscribe. That is the best way. The free way to support the show is just subscribe to YouTube.
That helps us a ton.
Yeah, and we are getting so close
Not
to
right
1,000
now, but
guys.
later. That'll help us ton later.
But we are almost at 1,000 subscribers, so you guys just keep on subscribing. That is the best way to support us free if you don't want to spend money and stuff like that, which totally get it. We aren't that cool to give us money. I'm just kidding.
Oh no, we definitely aren't. No.
So YouTube there, check out Twitter. That is also where we post everything, all the voting and all the videos we talk about, any cards we get from Cardsphere, mail day stuff, all that stuff. We don't use Twitter that often, but when we do, it's pretty sweet. So, right? I don't know. Direct message us there as well.
I don't know if I can counteract you because I just said we are sweet enough to pay. Yeah. And then I'm like, I can't say that we're bullshit on Twitter though. Right?
Then you can also direct message us by Gmailing us, emailing us at CommanderSmiths@gmail.com. And that is where you can send the suggestions for this.
Wait.
I like this one better.
It's time for everyone's favorite game show.
I know what it is. I just don't know the name. Because you were saying it was going to be hard, right?
I think that just has to be like the opener from now on because it's pretty much what it comes down to when we get to this.
And sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't.
All right, so this one's going to be a tough one. This is a difficult one this week. So if you guys don't know how this game works, I'm going to read the flavor text of a card, and Lowery is going to try to guess the card by asking yes or no.
She can't even read.
No. He's gonna ask yes or no questions. Every yes, he will hear this.
Hello, boobies.
Every no, he'll hear this.
Wrong.
He gets up to 5 wrong guesses before he is considered stumped. He will get up to 3 clues. If he can get everything about the card but doesn't know the name, I know what the card is, I just don't know the name, he will get a bonus clue of the initials. If he has a leftover clue like he did this last episode, he will also get a bonus clue to break down the word that is there. This week's stumper is, I almost said the card name instead of the person's name. Jacob Newman. I need to.
Then I would have had to guess Jacob Newman. Right.
Jacob Newman is
He
our...
lives at this address. Oh, I send him proxies. I don't know. All right.
Okay, so also the card needs to be in at least 5,000 EDH rec decks.
True.
I think that is it. We have Forbidden Orchard, the Double Masters 2 version. I have also eliminated the chat, so Lowery cannot see the chat on YouTube. So if you guys want to play along, you can jump on and try to guess the cards as we go. All right. I just have to read this word so you don't press that button for me. Hang on. Okay, got it. I had trouble. Yeah, don't even get away from that button. Get away. All right, here we go.
Hello, boobies.
That is the wrong one. The
No,
is
it
it
isn't. It's
the
boobies. That's always the right one.
the is it mage knew she would neither get her thermo inverter back nor have the satisfaction of exploding it herself.
Repeat that, please.
The is it mage knew she would neither get her thermo inverter back nor have the satisfaction of exploding it herself. Sorry. Can you guess what word I was had to read beforehand? Can you figure out which one that was? Thermo inverter.
Oh, yeah, that'd be tough. I appreciate you trying real hard there, though, but that's
Well, we got our first jackal guess.
so you're wrong. I don't even think it's red. All right, so it is saying that the is it mage is being stopped from getting, or like it's taking away the thermo inverter.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
The is it mage knew she would neither get her thermo inverter back nor have the satisfaction of exploding it herself.
Right now, so like to me, that's probably. I mean, clearly this is an Ravnica block. So let's start off with that. Is this in a Ravnica block out of the 9 that there are?
Hello, boobies.
Okay. Probably Azorius, which is white-blue. I will say color identity white.
Is that what your guess is?
Yes.
Hello, boobies.
Like, it has it in there. More than likely, it's white-blue. More than likely, it's stopping or taking something away from... The is it mage doesn't technically matter there, other than saying like what's happening. So it's not red blue, clearly. Red white is like Boros War. They're kind of like the soldiers that stop stuff, so they could take something away. But more than likely, it's Azorius, which is like the law, rule, kind of the cops. What I'm gonna say is this color identity white blue.
Wrong, 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 wrong.
You're saying both, right?
Yeah.
Gotta check down one wrong guess.
Still think it's it's definitely
You've made
white.
3 guesses without even getting a clue. Do you know that?
Yeah, that's right. I can.
Tough guy sniff.
I think
Take a drink. It's all good.
I think it's white red because white black unlikely, and then white green very unlikely. So it's more than likely white red. Let's take the first clue, please.
The art features a large masked man pulverizing an object with his hands. The art features a large masked man pulverizing an object with his hands.
Jeez. A large masked man.
Mm-hmm.
That could be white green now. Thinking wise that it's smashing it. And so
Hulk smash.
that's why
Is that why you went green?
Hulk's green. That's why
That's why you went
yeah. It's not that big of a leap, right?
It's gotta be green.
Unlikely to be white black.
Did you watch Thor? Is that no Thor? That was Ragnarok was
I
in
haven't.
Thor.
Ragnarok is
You
probably my favorite Marvel movie.
you borrowed me that one. It was pretty good.
Did
Borrowed.
I get it back? Can I
Yeah.
have it?
You have it back. Lended, borrowed. You borrowed it. Number 2 probably hates it right now. Borrow.
He's
That's what we do in Minnesota. We borrow it.
All right. I don't know if the colors matter as much. I think, it's either white, green, or white, red. Probably white, green. At this point, it's destroying something. Could be hybrid, but more than likely like white, green. What would that be? A large masked. What?
The art features a large masked man pulverizing an object with his hands.
Are you being specific with man, or is it like?
I mean, it's obvious it's a man. Like I'm trying to say that it's
a human.
It's a person.
Human
It's a
man.
bald dude. Like it's not a female.
Okay.
And it's
Well,
can't tell that
like
it's
a fucking centaur. Is
right.
it?
I can't tell what it is. It's a large masked man. So that's why I went with that.
You can say male, large masked male.
Right.
If it's a human,
it's
then
not.
like,
It's
then-
not. Let me take this away. There is no creature type to this. It's just the figure is what I was trying to get at. Trying to give you. Yeah.
Okay. I was already down that line, so let's go with this is a non-permanent spell.
Hello, boobies.
All right. I feel like this is probably in the latest Ravnica. I don't think it's original Ravnica. Could be Return to Ravnica. It could be Return to Ravnica.
Return.
We're not there yet. We will, but we won't. We're not there yet. Let's go for the gusto. Is the color identity at least white green?
Wrong.
That's
Sorry.
too long.
Yep. You are incorrect, sir.
It's not white blue. It's not white green. What would white red be? White red removal. I'll take a second clue, please.
The text features a choice and 2 permanent types with that choice. That is incorrect, Ted. But you're on the right track.
Does that have?
So we have the Izzet Mage knew she would neither get her thermo inverter back nor have the satisfaction of exploding it herself. Then we have the art features a large masked man pulverizing an object with his hands. The text features a choice of
Crush contraband.
Hello, boobies.
Yeah, we got it. Look at that. There you go. There it is. How'd you pull that off with the choice of 2 permanent types? Is that what gave it away?
That probably helped because I went, okay, that's artifact enchantment. I went to wear and tear, and I was like, I don't think that has any flavor text. And then I started going, what if it doesn't have another color?
Yeah, that's where I was like, you kept going, it's got to be a pair with this and hybrid. And I'm like, oh man, he's going to get all the wrong answers.
And then once I was like, what if this is just a white card? And then I got there.
Nice. Nicely done, buddy. Very nice. Well, sorry, Jacob Newman. Lowery got it.
That was
you
a good
can
shot. That was a very good. I like this card. This is actually a foil spec of mine, though. So
Oh,
you got a little unlucky
good
there.
for you.
Oh, good.
I didn't think you were gonna get this one because I hadn't. So surprisingly, 20,000 EDH rec decks. I was gonna give a little bit of a clue with it's most seen in Hinata, and I was like, that might help Lowery a little bit because you're choosing one, and I guess then why would it be Hinata though?
Because it would bring it down to white and a colorless because you can target an artifact and an enchantment.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I didn't think it made it in that deck for me.
yeah, so I was like,
good.
this is gonna be a tough one for you because I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen this card. I was like, oh, Larry's gonna struggle with this one. But Jacob, you can send us a signed copy if you like. If you want, just contact us either direct message Like I said, on Twitter, or you can shoot us an email if you really want to send something signed and all that. You can. Remember, you guys can send those in. Make sure to email it to me. Don't Twitter it because Lowery will see it. And we have our 3rd week starting next week. So 2 more weeks, and then we get another card added on. So let's get back to our main topic. What is our main topic? Hit our button, Lowery.
Here you go, AJ.
I don't want a relationship. I just want bang, bang, bang. I don't want to know your name. I just want bang, bang, bang.
This is a weird, I'm going to say, this drink. It's like,
Rosé?
yeah, it's very sweet. And like right when you first taste, and you know, when you get a drink and you do that first taste and it has that smell that gives you a taste. Has a weird first taste, but then the sweetness takes over. It doesn't taste like there's alcohol.
Saying that it's probably frosé is a frozen rosé.
Oh,
And that might be what that flavor
There's
is.
a-
And rosés are like wines, so I don't
maybe
know.
that's what it is. I'm not saying it's bad. It just
I don't
wasn't.
think it's a wine, but it might have like a hint of it or something.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the. I don't even know what that % alcohol is on this. I want to get messed up, and this. Just kidding. There was one I was looking at that was like 12% alcohol. I was like, I'll be fucked up by the end of the episode if I did 4 of those bad boys. Not that I drink 4 of them in an episode, but anyways, okay. So what are we doing for our main topic for today?
Okay, so this is we mentioned the rules that we go by, like on our searching for the spotlight or when we're just talking about cards. And the main ones are no counters, no tutors, and no combos. Now those are actually very specific. It's not as broad band as it could be, but we just want to discuss those and just talk about just the style of decks that we're building, why we're building them that way, and what the results are of that. Now, me and Adam are biased, but we feel like our games are a lot of fun.
It is
Generally, there's not many feel bads.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's really developed some fun stuff for us.
Mm-hmm. I will say that I feel like it's made part of the tutor, especially the tutor part. I feel like it's made me a better deck builder. If you get what I'm saying, like, removing that from my game made it so I had to build an all-around better deck because I had to make more cards fit with what I'm trying to do with the deck. Whereas when you had tutors before, and I keep saying tutor, hold on, I should be hitting
Hold
this.
on. I'm not going to add all that stuff in editing. Let's just go. Okay, we're going to concentrate on no tutors, right?
Okay.
What do we mean when we say no tutors?
Ooh, and I've had this discussion on the Discord before because people are like, whoa, what about this and all that? And I'm like, basically to just put it flat out there, any card that says tutor on it, I don't play with. Like Vampiric Tutor, Mystical Tutor, Worldly Tutor, Idyllic Tutor, you know, all those ones that have tutor in the name.
Yep. Tutor.
I don't.
You don't have to do that.
Why not? You're gonna add all those toots in for
and so we're really only talking about like 6 to 7 cards,
right? But those get used. I mean, when you're playing those decks, I mean, there's what colors don't you have? We have white has a few, we have blue, we have green, we have black. We just don't really have red. You know, there isn't really a red tutor. And
I gamble. I mean,
yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah, but
but also very different and unique. And
yeah.
So I guess is that the main thing you avoid, or do you think there's something also separate there that matters? Because there is for me.
What do you mean?
Engine tutors.
Oh,
so like
you're gonna hate
so
on
like
my deck.
Magda.
Yeah, you're
I'm
gonna hate
bring
on my
that
deck.
up. I'm attacking
You motherfucker.
Take this personally.
Okay,
Magda's a tutor deck. We know this.
That's why the people give me the most shit for that deck.
Yep. Because we state that, and I think there's good cause in giving you shit for it, because
Because it's so good. Is that why? No,
it's because you tutor. Tutoring's very good. Let's not beat around the bush. Everybody knows that tutoring is good, and that's why people do it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not something that we get mad when we see other people do it. But okay, we're getting into the why now, right? Tutors, we find, makes games too similar or consistent.
Right.
So like the same thing happens over and over and over and over.
Right.
Was there something else for you for the why that you don't do tutors?
No, that's the main thing.
That's the main the main focus.
100% why I feel like we both cut it out is because you build this 100 card deck and the only way you win is 2 cards or 3 cards. You know, you're like, every time I get this, and that's how my games end. This is how I win. I go for it every single time. I win. And so when we cut that out, it made it so that I built 100, like I mentioned before, 100 card deck where I don't just have 1 to 3 different things to get the win. I'm building this engine of 100 cards that all work together, and I don't have to have any one card to win. It's any card, any combination of things that ends up winning. And so the tutors made it started to feel like, and this is the reason why we got out of 60 card decks, is the games, they went the exact same, like 60 modern decks or whatever. You play it, and within 3 turns, if your combo's happening, you win. If it's not, the other person's combo is happening. You play the same game
I don't
again.
Think there's nothing wrong with that if you enjoy.
Enjoy that, yes. But for us, especially me, I'll say personally for me, I won't want to speak for you, but I feel like you're in the same boat. Those 60 card games is just like, well, it's doing the same thing again. I'm just rushing to get to this combo, and it just sucked. Like, it just wasn't fun. I got bored.
I still never really played combo in that.
Yeah.
But it's still, it was like, I'm probably much more of like an aggro player. And so it was more just like spit out creatures, be as aggressive as possible, make sure that I have the spot removal that's perfect against you. And so
why does everybody build decks that's just perfect against me? I
only played against you and one other person. So
true.
I was able to be able to, I mean, lightning bolt and path aren't just for you. They just worked. So that the allure of Commander is that games play out differently. Even though you have, we say synergize, and if we felt like games weren't being different enough, I would say become less synergistic, which makes a deck worse, which also makes a deck more random. There are people that want more random games, but you need to find that niche of people that want to also do that, because you shouldn't come in with a deck that's random all over the place, a bunch of, like, you're never ever going to have the same game twice with that deck, but then go into a place and complain that other people's decks are too good or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should understand where your deck is, and that's part of understanding deck building and what you're doing, right? And so we understand, like, when we sit down, we can just say, we don't play with tutors, and people can go, okay, he's not going to win out of nowhere.
Right.
When, like, on a more consistent basis, we could still win out of nowhere.
Right. You're just not tutoring up for that. I'm going to, okay, I have a bunch of creatures out. All right. Tutor to go get my crater hoof. And now you guys are dead.
Yep. I have played with tutors recently, recently within the last 4 years. So like Vivictus Asmati had all the tutors that could fit into it if it was putting something on top of the library, because Vivictus Asmati plays off the top of the library.
And that's the other part, is the fitting with the theme, which is going to fit into both of the 2 categories of tutors and counter spells.
So you have your theme and your synergies that you want a deck to be working with. And I felt like that was okay, because if it was a blue deck doing that, I'd have more tools to be able to play around with the top. But in a Jund deck, there's like 3 artifacts that can do that, and that's it. And you can't make a deck synergy out of it. It's Scroll Rack, Sensei's Divining Top, and Brainstone at this point. That's pretty much what you're working with. You can't make a deck out of that. But if you wanted things to be random, have it not hit it all the time, that ends up being fine, right? Like you can also do that. Another example of something that I did not do, but like have Birthing Pod and Vanifar and another one in my Muldrotha deck, because I'm like, oh, I can sacrifice creatures, bring them back. There's some synergy going on there. Like I can recast stuff. And I played it a couple times and I'm like, this is being too consistent. And I took them all out. And I like the deck better again. Like it felt like it, as I was goldfishing, I'm like, this is kind of the same thing over and over and over. I was just like, I don't like that. Take it out. And that's on the feel for you, right? Like, so like those cards are, your Birthing Pod and Vanifar are very similar to probably Magda. And again,
that's not as good. I'm just kidding.
No, it isn't. They're not, because they're in the 99. They're not.
I'm kidding.
They're not the commander. So it's not going to happen every game, but they don't tutor on it.
I still have to get treasures, and I have to sack them.
I have to have dwarfs tap
in a
dwarf deck,
and I'm limited to getting an artifact or a dragon. Like, come on, it's so limited.
Okay.
It's not really tutoring.
Yes, very.
It's very limited.
Very limited.
They don't have answers for everything. Yes, I do.
So it is a feel thing for us. It's super easy to say, if it says tutor on it, avoid it.
Yep. And what I put is
about fetches. We're not talking about ramp, even though those are
tutors
lands.
Now, I like I said, what you were talking there is if it fits in a theme, like Yarok, I'll use like ETB triggers. So like Sidisi does that, or it enters and you can exploit. Can I double exploit? I think I can. I was trying.
Yeah, I'm not looking at the card. I'd have to.
I'm pretty sure I can.
It doesn't matter.
But anyways, it comes into play. Sacrifice a creature. If you exploit, you can exploit a creature, whatever. You can tutor for something. That's the only time I'll do it, is if it fits in the theme. One thing I did. Oh, go ahead. You're about to say something. You can say it.
Cost of the tutor matters as well, in my opinion. So like Sidisi being at 5 is not nearly as problematic as
1 or 2
tutor or vampiric tutor at 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
So those
plus they don't fit in a theme. It's just like it just doesn't. And that's the thing is, I sometimes lately I've been noticing I sometimes do too much theme, where I cut out things that I should have in for like removal and stuff like that. Where I'm just like, oh, removal has to be in the same theme that I'm doing this deck. And it's like, well, that sometimes that doesn't work. So you just need to have your stuff. But yes, that wouldn't fit in the theme. And those are very low costing tutors, which, spoiler alert, if you guys want to watch the battle boxes, I pulled out a tutor that I'm never going to use. That's over $200. Like, beat Lowery. Just got to throw that in there.
Imperial Seal is a really good tutor. I wouldn't play.
Actually, I don't think it
is.
is. I don't think.
Why is it not?
Because
it's just a sorcery speed vampiric tutor, right?
But it goes on top of your library.
Yeah, that's vampiric tutor.
Yeah, but vampiric tutor is so much better. You do it at the beginning before your turn.
Just an instant to sorcery. That's the only difference.
But the difference is you go through a whole turn and somebody can make you do a shuffle effect and you lose what you just tutored for. I'm not saying it's terrible, but there's a
versus just for that little. It's rare.
Yes.
Clearly, I mean, that's why it's expensive.
Well, it was in the freaking portal crap. Of course, all those shits are really expensive.
Yeah.
I've had a discussion. Me and Renshai and I were having a discussion. Like, even if I played tutors, I wouldn't even play Imperial Seal. Like, I don't
disagree.
I don't like it.
It's you're going to be adding consistency with any amount of tutors, and that's the thing.
Are we changing this episode now?
What's that?
Are we changing the episode to have a discussion about tutors? I understand the consistency, but I'd rather have different things. Like,
for sure.
Let me do a side note to that. Like, tutors for me, when I played them, I wanted them one of two ways. One, if it was a sorcery, I wanted to go into my hand, because that's what happens. You're tutoring for something. People know that you can get any card and then you are getting the answer or the game winner. So you become a target. Or if it's an instant, I want it to be able, or I should say that different. If it goes on top of my library, I want that to be an instant. So those are the only one, like, that's why I didn't like Imperial, is because I do it on my turn, and now you got to wait, and everybody knows that you just went and searched for something. I know there isn't a lot of other players making you shuffle effects, which is a little more difficult, but there are, or you just get targeted because they're like, hey, he just put something on the top of his library. Where's the button? Oh, I have it right here.
Okay, kill him.
Yeah. And so that was kind of when I played Tutors 4 years ago.
You're complaining about consistency at this point. Like that's what it does is it reduces the amount of
I'll play Diabolic
cards
Tutor.
that you actually have to have. Right.
Would you
Imperial
rather
Seal is very good. There isn't any point in saying that it's bad, but
well, it's not bad.
Is it better than Vampiric Tutor?
No.
Probably, it's not.
No.
But it's still a very good tutor.
Yes,
and
but
saying
it's
that
not.
I think it's ridiculous saying that you wouldn't play it.
No, I'd play 3 others, and I would fill my thing with just the.
You play if you're playing with tutors, you play with as many tutors as you can because you're trying to have a thing happen.
Right.
Like as fast as possible, and Imperial Seal would enable that and enable that.
What it Grim Tutor? I think I would play with Grim Tutor over that. What is Grim's again?
It's 3 for 3 life and into hand.
Yeah, I would definitely do Grim over that. Just that's my play style. That's how I would do it over. Why are we even having this discussion? Because we are never going to do that.
Supposed to. Yeah, I agree.
Tutor.
All right. What are the?
So
we kind of already talked about.
Well, I said maybe what you could do is put rules on it saying like you play with the tutors, put like hindrances on it that you go and you're saying that I'm playing with tutors, but I'm only searching for land, ramp, or maybe even add draw in there. So it's just like you're not going for the game winners or even removal. It's just this is my land ramp. This color doesn't have it, or I don't own this or whatever. When I play this tutor, I'm only going for land or ramp. And if your play group doesn't trust you, you can show the card.
Sounds like Urza's Saga, which is a bad card anyway.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, Lowery. You need to play with it, and then you'll know. You'll know how good it is.
I
when
play
you
with it multiple times.
Yeah. You need to play with it, and you'll know how good it is, Lowery. You got to play with it more, man. You're lacking in the playing with it.
I know how good it is, and it's still disappointing. All right.
I get mad at myself every time I'm done playing with it. All right. So I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add for tutors?
So replacement part,
son of a bitch.
So
My
like
computer
talk
did
about the
its fun thing.
results
Hang on
and
a
the
second.
replacement of tutors.
Hang on a second. My computer's doing
freezing
its
up?
fun thing again.
All right.
Let's just hope that the whole stream is still going. Yep, it's still going, but you are frozen. So let me change you around here.
I'm a froze.
Let's go to chart, change to there. We get back to here, and Lowery is still gone.
I'm gone.
You have disappeared, my friend. Let's see if I can make you pop back.
Let's see.
It's only for the live cast because this won't be on the audio.
Holy shit! 45 minutes already.
Yeah, I know.
That's all right.
We might not get you back, Lowery. I don't know. You're gone.
Right. I don't even like me.
I made my family disappear. What the fuck happened? I see you over here. So that's the funny thing is
I'm
I can
still
see
here.
All right. You say what's the next thing we're going? I'm going to see if I can mess with some things here.
Replacements for tutors are
There we go. Gotcha.
You want to add I got notes this time because there's a lot of things here. All right.
Oh, good
The
for
thing that you want to
you.
be doing is making sure that you're drawing more cards. And what that ends up like kind of as a byproduct, it's going to help you have a better deck. Seeing more cards is important.
Oh, hang on a second.
You're going to what's going on?
I think they can hear you. The problem is we're doing this on a Friday and nobody's saying anything, but I think the volume stuff is all good. It says it should, but normally I see my levels. This is so much fun doing this live. I love it so much. I do because it should be working. It just normally it shows on my mixer on Streamlabs. If people are listening and they can't hear us because there are some people there.
See if you can hear me.
If you can't, just say
something,
I
yes,
can
no,
hear you.
Maybe so.
Hello.
All right.
You keep going.
So, but if you're drawing more cards, I can hear both of you. Great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ted.
You're going to see more cards, which is going to help you hit your land drops. You're going to see more removal. It's going to help the game move forward better because people are seeing more cards. And that's what's going to happen. What I do is make sure that I'm having more card draw because I put the tutor in the card draw spot, which is going to have me see a specific card more often, which adds to the consistency a little bit more.
Right.
But drawing cards is more random, but still you're going to hit everything that you need more often.
Right.
That is a byproduct that I have found that I really, really like.
And it fills in the gaps of mana screwed, not only hitting the cards that you need, but also adding into other things that helps your deck move, like getting enough mana every time that you're able to do a land drop every turn. If you have enough card draw, you're hitting not only the cards you need to make the deck move forward, but also the little stuff of the lands and removal to hold in your hands. You have more answers when you're drawing more. So by adding in a lot more card draw, and I know that's probably what you were saying, because my brain was fixing things.
That's
so
right,
I'm
not worried about it. You can repeat me.
Yeah. I can
we
pull
are
a
making
Lowery.
sure-
I can pull a Lowery and repeat.
Hey.
Exactly. I'm just kidding. I love you.
Fine. No, that's true. You're right. It feels weird. I'm going to try and stop doing it. I don't do it often anymore.
But I agree. Everything Lowery said, and I'm going to say it again. But the card draw just adds into giving you answers for other things. And it's like you said, it adds more of it's just consistency with your deck. So you're hitting more stuff.
Yeah. The other thing that I do is I add in suboptimal cards, but that have similar effects to what I want having, which is what happens with the theme. I am much more likely to add that in because I want that effect to happen.
Right.
Right. So that's something else that you're playing cards that you're not often going to be playing because they are suboptimal, but they're still adding consistency. So it's kind of like a nice balance. Sometimes they're just too expensive and you just can't play it. Sometimes you're willing to do it. Whatever you kind of want to be doing there. That, again, it's whatever you're comfortable with, and it depends on your play group. Because the other thing is when we get to counters, I'll have that kind of discussion there. But that is what I'm finding for like replacing what's going to be happening and just drawing more cards and adding more like similar synergies within the deck.
Yeah. Renshaw, you're late. It is not a jackal. It was never a jackal.
It was lightning bolt this time though.
Why don't we get right into counters though? I think that's it. I don't have any more on tutors. Tutors, our biggest thing was our biggest replacement for it is more card draw. And then if you look at our blueprint, it's one of our biggest episodes. It's way back 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago. And I have the blueprint link or whatever, but that is why we have so much draw in our blueprint stuff. And we could actually add even more. I think, was that one of the things you thought we needed to add a little bit more to? I think that's, you said that.
Yep.
So, all right, let's get into counters. So fuck counter spells. No,
Fuck that guy.
Counters, a similar thing with me is I don't use them unless it fits in a deck. Like for example, if I was using treasures and I was in a blue deck, I'd use like Spell Swindle as, adding treasures or maybe artifacts if I wanted to have that. Sure. But other than that, I don't use any counters. I try not to. Maybe if it has a mode, Sublime Epiphany is one that I'll use because of other things, of all the different modes. What's the big counter one with the 3, not counterbalance.
Mystic Confluence.
Yes. I have that in Yuriko because of one of the modes is tap all of a target opponent's creatures.
Oh, it's Cryptic Command.
Cryptic Command, thank you. Cryptic Command, I'll use that because it's tap all of target opponent's creatures, and then that makes it so Yuriko can get through with all the creatures, and it has a counter spell on it, but I'll most of the time, 99% of the time, I'm using it for the other mode.
Okay, so I'm going to say no counters for what I should have said for Magda as well. So I'll add counter spells into decks that I want to have a lot more higher powered. And Magda, it's fine to have a tutor deck. It's fine to have a counterspell deck, but understand when you're playing it, it should be in the right situation. It should be in higher powered games where you're not just oppressing people. And you need to understand, like, if you're like, oh, this deck is countering too many things, I need this in those higher powered games. Like at the end of the night, it's like, hey, we want to end this game. And you don't play counter spells for it, but you play a Magda deck. So like where I'll play counter spells, I agree. I have those two that we just talked about in Hinata because I can play them for, I don't play, I play the Mystic Confluence and then the 6-mana one because I can get that down
Sublime
to blue.
Epiphany.
And yeah, Sublime, and that blue is pretty sweet for that.
For that card, for fucking
Yeah.
pick one or more, and there's like 5
you
modes
can
on
choose
it.
just about everything off on that, and it's so good. It's so awesome.
You could exclude counterspell, and everything else is amazing on that freaking mode.
Yep. And so, but like in Glenn, I wanted that to be a higher powered deck because I want to be able to protect Glenn. I want to be able to stop people from winning the game on the spot. And I wanted it to be a higher powered deck. So I have the free counter spells in there. And I don't feel bad about that. The deck, again, it's probably waned in power as I've tweaked with it. And just, that's what I do now. And I accidentally, subconsciously, but I still have counter spells in there. So there are reasons why I have them, but I need to understand when I'm playing that deck. Like, remember when I made a mono blue Talrand deck way back when, and it was like a 7-person game, 6 or 7-person game, and I locked the table down with Talrand and counter spells and misdirections and shit like that.
I remember that. I
and
remember you do that a lot.
Everybody fucking hated it. Everybody fucking hated it, and that's why the next game I played Heartless Hitsuku and halved everybody's life as quick as I could and died very fast. Because I knew
suicide.
It fucking sucked. It was like a 2.5 hour game, and I was like, "This is miserable."
That's what you get, you little jerk.
What's that?
So that's what you get, you little jerk, for locking the table down.
Exactly. It was awful.
Well, so counterspells though, like to kind of jump on that with it is the big thing. We've mentioned this before multiple times is we got locked down in multiple games with our cousin, and that's where counterspell
Wizard 60 card deck.
Yeah,
it was able to lock me and Adam out both. Like it was super awful to play against.
It wasn't fun. We weren't playing Magic anymore. It was like, Larry, who's throwing whatever. We've told this story multiple times.
Yep.
Yes, I know people can play. I appreciate counter spells. They do help. They're the best removal, as you have stated before. But sometimes people just counter to counter, and it sucks. And I think the stuff that happened with our cousin.
Did we freeze up? Are you seeing it?
Oh,
You're good.
moving.
As long as you go. Okay, no. All right.
Am I frozen on your end?
No, you were for.
I was just sitting there like not moving.
Fine. Go.
I'm frozen, Laura.
We're live.
Can you see me? Anyways, God, franchise is just gonna fucking talk about counterspell. What does he say though? Counterspell should be used more like a sniper, not a machine gun.
There.
Okay. All right.
It's gonna get there.
I like that. Yes. What were you gonna say, Larry? Why don't you go ahead?
Okay. All right. It was gonna be an offensive joke.
An offensive joke.
So it was going to be into counterspells can become like religion, where it becomes more of a crutch rather than making your own choices.
Yeah.
That was a Jesse Ventura thing. All right. So here's the thing is like, there are so many different ways to deal with what's going on in the game, and counterspell players tend to just lean into counterspells heavier, and they're very, very good. Again, understand, it's a very good card. All of them, even 4-mana counterspells are fucking good that draw you cards.
Yes.
But they suck to play against.
Right.
A lot of people hate them. Even if you don't think you hate them, they are. And so, as Renshaw is saying here, you should be using it more like a sniper rather than a machine gun, than to just go counter. If you could just be like, here's the other thing that I want to go to replacing. in the replacement thing, we don't use it. We don't use counterspells almost at all. And that's something that we are at a comfortable level at of accepting to just have somebody else win.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's okay.
Right. You don't.
I have no problem with somebody doing their thing and going off.
You have done that before where you have a way of stopping it, but you want to see what happens. And so you let it go. And then you're like, well, I can't do anything. So they won. Yeah. I wanted to see that. But you had an answer. Like, I could have done something, but I wanted to see this happen. If you could do that, I'm not saying this is just making you a better Magic player, but that if you can take that away, the inside that you have to win every single game, no matter what, you have to win that. If you can think to yourself, if there's a spot where somebody's about to do something, you have an answer, but you want to see what their deck is doing, that to me, that's like you growing to not just being that, that win every game, we have cutthroat, whatever. It's more of, let's see how these games, I want to see you do your thing. And that's my biggest thing is I want everybody to win a game. Anyways, go back to what you were saying with that.
Sure. Well, I mean, okay, so acceptance in not having to win every game, not having to play perfectly. This is what we talked about, 2-3 weeks ago. It's just like, it's okay.
Yeah, and that's why I got so mad at myself.
It's okay to lose the game. It's okay to have somebody do their thing and win.
Right.
It's fine. Now, that's accept that sometimes people are going to win. Don't get upset about it. It works across so many spectrums of why people get upset about Magic or things in life. Like, it's okay on so many levels. And, sometimes people are going after you. And if you can't understand that is going to happen or not, like, get to a point where you can accept that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just cut cards. It's that thing. It's just like, you can be upset about it or you can make the choice to not to, but they're both choices. Sometimes you're allowing your emotions to control how you think.
Yeah.
And sometimes you control your emotions and then you can choose how life goes. And so if you get in the mindset that you can accept other people to be happy, yes, be happy and do their thing. And
look at this. We're getting some nice messages here.
Sit back and just let somebody else be happy. That's cool too. Except that you don't always have to have that instant gratification.
Right. This is backshadowing, which that goes back to the episode weeks ago where I talked about the misplays thing. Yeah. That I think that's why it bugged me so much, is that it was bugging me, bugging. We're in some inception level shit here. The bugging, and then it's like, why is this bugging me? Well, now that's bugging me that it's bugging me, that I'm pissed off so much. So yes, all of that, all the good things that you just said there. How do we counteract counterspells? What do we do differently with counterspells?
All right, so I did say acceptance. What do you got?
I do like redirection stuff. So I've been playing a lot of deflecting SWAT lately. So that's kind of fun. Also, I use a lot more, but this won't really counteract counterspells. But if I were to use counterspells, I maybe would put a hindrance, like I mentioned with the tutors, and say maybe I only counter things that are my stuff. And so the only thing that I do differently with that is I play a lot of protection stuff, like not just your Swiftfoot Boots or your Lightning Greaves. It's more of the tricky, heroic interventions or their Chroma's Will, or, things that you don't see coming that I can play in response to somebody trying to destroy my stuff. That's more against removal, I guess, because you can't really stop the counterspell unless you're redirecting kind of stuff. But that's more of what I use, a lot more of that kind of stuff when I'm playing.
Not playing more stacks pieces either. We're just not talking about that aspect. But okay, I'm going to go a little bit more further, maybe a step from what you're saying. I'm still saying the same thing that you're saying, but I'm going to go a step further. Okay, number one, acceptance is that part of like somebody Torment of Hailfired. Mainly the only thing to do is counterspell or they're to Fury Protection, and it'd be great to be able to just kill them. And sometimes, you know, counterspells have their place. It's that sniper mentality that Renshai's talking about, but also the acceptance parts. The other stuff is where we're talking about protect your stuff counters. There's hexproof, there's shroud, there's changing targets, there's indestructibility, there's regenerate, there's phasing, there's blink, there's bounce, and there's tax and stats. These are all things that counter. That's part of what I was talking about when it comes to crutches. When all you do is create a crutch and it creates that consistency of a play pattern that it gets really annoying. All of these other things can stop somebody from doing something. They're just a little bit more focused. But if you're trying to protect your stuff like hexproof, shroud, phasing, that creates different effects and different feelings within a game, right? And when all you do is use counter spells, you are neglecting all of these other things that you could be choosing from. And maybe that's part of
couldn't people
get
say
upset about choosing the same things over and over and over? It could be because you're using everything as a crutch.
Yeah.
You're going, I need to use the best cards. You're using it as a crutch. And you're going, I need to go here. Instead of experimenting, instead of choosing different things, and it doesn't just have to be heroic intervention. You know, there's plenty of spot protection stuff in there. There's plenty of cards that you can choose from. And don't allow a certain, unless it's thematic. Again, I would get like a Baral deck that reduces counterspell, you know, spells by 1, and when you counter a spell, you draw a card, discard a card. Like that's on theme, that's on synergy. I get that. But if you're just a blue Hinata deck, you don't have to go that route. And if you get frustrated with it, that's your deal. And if other people get frustrated with it, people don't want to play against that deck. So you need to balance that out.
I hear you.
Is there anything else that I got?
No.
Okay. So we didn't really go what is counterspells and the problem with them.
Well, we did
we're going to say mostly blue. We kind of
the solitaire aspect to it was that we talked about that with our.
Yeah. One thing that I do want to stay there is if you're doing counterspells, even the sniper thing to stop people from doing their thing. Again, that's that acceptance of let people do their thing.
Unless you've seen their thing before.
You can, unless you think, I mean, people play their decks over and over and over, and that's fine too, but
get that thing out of here.
Unless there's something that you want to specifically stop. So like in like Trombley's Kalia deck with Armageddon. That I get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It depends on where your level is and what you're trying to stop, and you need to have consistency in being able to stop that. Armageddon's really hard to stop. You know, like a Boros Charm would make all my stuff indestructible. There's only so much of that stuff, you know, heroic intervention. That's about it. You know, you got Teferi's Protection.
Well, how you stop it is you kill the Kalia before you have either a kill spell or whatever, then they can't do their thing anymore.
Yeah, but that's a shitty game.
Yeah, then it turns into starting over.
That player is just shitty for doing that.
They need to commit.
Trombley's a shitty person.
They need to. I was going to say a bad word, not bad word. It's going to sound bad. They need to immediately concede if they get their Kalia killed right there. That's
yep.
Let's
make that a rule.
Yeah.
Did you want to add in any rules for counterspells?
Well, I like I said, if and I've talked about this. This is where it kind of came up a little bit too. Is my right here, my Captain N. I talked about him on Monday too. Captain N. Gatharad. See, I tried Renshai.
Shouldn't.
I don't have enough.
Give me a second. Hold
on.
Kid can't even read.
Thank you. So I added in, but it's not in there. This is in my sideboard because I haven't played the deck yet. But I added in these 4 guys as my sideboard, which is the proxies here, but they're
ooh, them pretty.
They are, and they're foil. Force of Negation, Force of Will, Mana Drain, and Fierce Guardianship. those, if I played them, if I decide to play them, the reason why I have those on the side, I have barely any protection in that. People are getting pregnant left and right. So it is just, there's nothing. So this was going to be, if I played those counter spells, I was going to say, I'm only using it to protect my stuff. I will not counter somebody's combo. I will not counter a wrath. I will not, well, unless it's like, targeting my stuff, then I will counter it. It's my only, I'm playing black and blue. So I don't have my heroic interventions. I don't have all the white ones. I don't have redirection with red. So I was like, this is really my only option unless I'm playing Swiftfoot Boots and, the artifact protection stuff. And so I was like, I don't want to do it that route. I like mass protection if I can. And so I'm going to play it out a couple times when we get some games going again with Discord and in real life games. And if it really does seem like my stuff's just getting sniped out, I'll cycle those 4 in. And if I do, I'm going to say ahead of time, I will never use a counterspell other than protecting my own stuff. And that's
never have I ever.
Right. I'd rather not use it because I don't want to be like, oh, I play counterspells, but only doing this and this and this. But it is an option. It is something that you can put on yourself. It's kind of like what we're saying here. We are putting a hindrance on ourselves of not using tutors and counters.
Yep.
You're just staying true to yourself. I could still counter the game winner, but then that isn't staying true to what I would do. I just be like, nope, I don't have an answer for that because it's not, I'm not protecting my own stuff,
Agreed. Here's another thought too. It's not something that we do, but if you are wanting to try and do what we're talking about for counterspells, tutors, and infinite combos here, is create your own sideboard and have specific cards that you would want to have switch in and out depending on where the game level is. If you're with you're going to play with people that are infinite combos, and if somebody's
go back to our sideboard episode if you guys want to check that out. That's episode number, I have no idea.
I have no idea either. But these are perfect cards to be able to up your power level and then take
or
it out
decrease
to
it down.
Take down your power level. And these are cards that if you have a plan to have in there or not, I think that would work really well for you. So,
yep. Should we move on to infinite combos because we are over an hour?
I'm good.
Is there anything else with counters?
I'm good.
That was it for me. All right. So last little bit is I did the counters. Why don't you introduce their infinite right. Combos?
Okay. We oftentimes say that we don't play with combos. What we really mean is infinite combos, and really taking a step farther of with payoff.
Ending the game.
Right.
I mean, you can end the game with a combo, but if it's infinite where it's like, okay, I can do infinite amount of damage right now without any, stopping it or whatever.
Yep.
That's something
that we don't do.
Yeah.
But some examples of, like infinite mana to be able to play out your hand, do some abilities as far as you want, like that, or like even to draw your entire deck and play all of it and then you can attack the next turn. I wouldn't have a problem doing that.
Right.
But if I went like infinite mana, Torment to Hailfire, winning the game, I would have a problem with that. I would either take out Torment of Hailfire or the infinite mana. Yep. That's where I would make that decision of just going, okay, these are two things that are very strong, and I'm going to choose one, and they can synergize together, but I don't want to end the game on the spot. So those are choices that I'm kind of making. There are, for me, even, I don't do this, but I could make infinite creatures, but if they attack the next turn, I'm good to go. If they can attack that turn, like a Kiki Jiki combo, then no, I don't do that. And so, like, giving people a chance to react, I am more than fine with that. If that's where my point of infinite combos are.
So to kind of piggyback on that is, so my Niv Mizzet deck has that one that's It's almost like an infinite combo, but it's not, because it's
limited by the amount of cards you
have in your deck and the life totals of everybody, because
Yep.
What it does is it's the enchantment that you put on Niv Mizzet, and then
Curiosity.
whenever you do, it's a curated MTG, I believe, right? Wasn't that on there? One of those?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'll have to look back and see if I can plug
Okay,
that one in
maybe.
there. Curiosity. So I'm gonna write that down. So curiosity and
So it's an enchantment. Whenever this creature deals damage, it doesn't have to be combat damage. You get to draw a card. Niv Mizzet is it deals the damage, you draw a card.
So
it
it's
just kind of goes back
boom,
and
boom,
forth
boom, boom,
until
boom.
you run out of cards if you want. But you only have 100 cards, and there's 120 life that you're facing.
And that
So,
it's also
unless-
if no one gained a life, and if you got that right away, which that's not going to happen because
You're going to draw more cards. Like it's really hard to win that, except for the end. But it's not infinite,
yes,
right?
And
Now,
so
if you added something in that could shuffle cards into your deck, then I'd be like, okay, that's infinite.
continuously,
Because you're always going to draw into it. You're
Yeah.
always going to be able to shuffle everything, and you're always going to just be able to keep on going until the game is done. But if it's not that, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
right. And I remember the first time it happened, I was like,
Personally.
why the fuck is this in my deck? I was all mad. I was like, oh, that's right, because it does, like, because Trombley was playing the deck, remember? And he
Mhm.
it was like, oh, I got an infinite over here. I thought you didn't have infinites. I was like, no, I don't have infinites in there. I was like, nope, it's dependent on how many cards you have. And he actually had to reorganize it because they just thought it was infinite. They were all dead. He had to get everybody's life down to like 10 or something like that, because that's the amount of cards he was going to be drawing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it ended up, maybe he ended up winning in the end, but he had to make a choice that had either kill two players or one player, or get everybody's life down to an easy shot. And so but like you said, if there was a shuffle effect throughout that deck, you just would have kept going and the game was over. And that's what we just tried to stay away from. You did, when we were kind of discussing beforehand or via text or whatever, what are the combos that you like more, that you're more a fan of? Is like, depending on multiple cards. I really hate the like 2-card combo stuff, but that's also the infinite. We're talking about infinite stuff.
Yeah, and even there, like the more pieces there are, the less I would be problematic. Like, again, all of this is dependent. Like, I'm not going to have a problem if you do it, because again, that acceptance part of, I want you to do your thing, that's fine. I want to do my thing, that's fine. And so I try and not do purposeful 5, 6, 7 piece to like infinites either, because oftentimes I'm not going to synergize in the deck and they're just one piece garbage. They're fine, they're good together, but like generally it just doesn't make the cut.
Yeah.
And oftentimes there's cards where like an egregious offender is always like Ashnod's Altar or Phyrexian Altar, where it's like, I need sack outlets, but they go accidentally infinite so often that I just don't use them.
Yeah.
Like I
They
don't
are
want to
nice
be like
sack outlets,
"Whoops,
though."
infinite," because it just happens with those cards. So I just avoid them altogether.
You don't put those in your decks at all?
I don't. Again, they're really good, but I just don't at this point.
Yeah. I hate those accidental infinites.
Yeah.
Like when you're testing out a new deck and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit. Well, this card's leaving my deck as soon as I get home.
I mean, I did that with Ashnod's Altar and gave Guru of Spores like way back when. And I remember doing this and just going, okay, about 10 times. And then I was like, I could keep going. I could just, oh, that's not good. That's and all that is infinite creatures. I couldn't attack that turn or anything, and I still didn't like that. So generally, like I said, I don't try and do that on purpose.
Really quick, I want to mention kind of the things with the infinites. The reason why we don't do the infinites is it almost is a feel bad. You have this game that's been going on for however long, 45 minutes, an hour. Everybody's building to start doing their thing, and it's about to happen. Everybody's about to have this big battle, and then it's over. Like, there isn't any battle. It's just one person hit their infinite, and the game is over. that's and that happened when we played with other not people in our play group, and that happens. People in our play group, like Trombley, for example, will be using my deck, and we've played somebody and they had an infinite, and he's just like, I was like, how'd the game go? I was like, yep, they went infinite. Actually, no, we were in the same game and that happened too. And he's just like,
yep.
He like gave me a look. He's like, well, and then later texting, he's like, that I'm so glad our group doesn't do that, because it really just, it felt like a waste of an hour. Like it was just like, no one, we were all starting to get to do, like no one had even battled yet. Like people maybe removed this or that, or, but everybody's, getting their position and about to start things. And then it was an infinite and it was done. It was like, well, that really sucked. I felt like it was a waste of time. And so then I want to play that deck again because it didn't feel like it did anything. And so I feel like infinites can have a lot of feel bads. And especially if they're really like 2-card infinites or whatever. It just kind of,
it's really hard to do like 2,
right.
but
2, 3,
like 3 is easier. And I get what you're saying. I agree. And this is where there are other places that it can happen. And I've used like Narset as an example of like deflating a game.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're talking about counter spells, and tutors kind of go not tutors, but infinite combos hand in hand in like deflating a game and making games feel worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're looking around and everybody's face is, fuck, this sucks, which is different than like, fuck, he got us.
Yeah.
And I think so it deflates a game, in my opinion, on a more regular sense. But also one thing that hurts us, our play group, is that we don't play counter spells.
Right.
So that makes us much more likely to lose to an infinite combo.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's all over the place and nobody's playing counter spells are very fucking good for this reason. There's nothing else that really stops spells comboing off.
Mm-hmm.
And so since we don't play that, we are much more susceptible to having that happen and deflate a game. And so,
okay, but
if you have 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces, it's more likely that you can interrupt an infinite combo with a regular removal piece of artifact or creature.
Mm-hmm. So I want to get to 2 points here, because Cole made a point. He said, what's the difference between infinite versus somebody popping off with an aristocrats or crater hoof to win the game? The difference is normally when the aristocrats is popping off or crater hoof is happening, there's this buildup. Like there's a battle. That's coming. You can, and there is a way to interact and stop that. You can stop the count, or you can play things to whatever, stop that. When crater hoofs are happening, and they're normally towards the end of the game. It's not happening in the middle of the game. An infinite just happens when everybody's starting to build. Crater hoof, if it's late game, that's normally when those get played. Here's what I was thinking was, think of it this way. Let's say put all your games in a command zone type feel. How shitty does that watch feel if you sit there and you're watching an hour or 45 minutes or an hour and a half of command zone, and they're all getting ready to build up, they're about to do their thing, and the game ends by somebody just going infinite and it's done. No one had done it. There's no battles. They wouldn't air that. Like, just think of it that way. Like, how boring. I mean, they probably would, but maybe they wouldn't. I don't even know if they play infinite stuff. That might be one of their house rules, because viewer wise, people that aren't in the game that are watching, that's boring as shit. Like, you didn't see anything happen.
I mean, it can be. I mean, if you watch some, I can agree with you on like our level, but if you watch some CEDH, what's going on, there's a lot of interaction going on, and it can be really intense, and it can go back and forth. The problem is when you don't have that interaction going back and forth, there is the common like card cycles.
Mm-hmm. I think you made a good
totally
point.
agree with you.
I think you made a good
entertainment value.
Yeah. Well,
like if you're watching something that's entertaining, more than likely when you play it, that's also going to be entertaining.
Yeah. And I don't know. I haven't watched any of their stuff for like basically since we started this podcast. So, but I feel like they have in-house rules where they don't have that kind of thing because it really doesn't make for good entertainment. I mean, CEDH is different because they're also playing, like you mentioned, just was a really good point you made a few minutes ago. We are susceptible to infinites because we don't play with counter spells. So we have no way of stopping that infinite from happening. Whereas if you're watching a CDH, there is that interaction. Because now you're playing, well, do I play my infinite or do I bait them and play this card first and see if they take that? And then I'll play this card after and maybe I get my infinite. Oh, let's counter spell. Okay, now we just keep going back and forth, back and forth. It's a lot different when everybody's on the same playing field. And that's what gets hard is when you have some people that are, and that's our bad for, not bad, but we understand that
it's
we're
that part of acceptance of just like, yep.
And when it happens, I don't get mad. I just go, you know, it's we know what we're in for. But then what ends up happening is like, this is our play group. So if this person keeps playing that, you know, they're not a part of our play group and whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's not like our play group doesn't either. We don't like, oh, you can't play that or whatever. People can do whatever they want in the play group. But what tends to happen is everybody is the same like mind and they want to play fun games. And
so
bunch of
Ted brought up Sun Quan with Post Malone and then also going with the Crater Hoof Behemoth comment. It just seems like they're kind of going like, yeah, this is what's the difference? Okay, what is the difference is for me personally, a Crater Hoof or an infinite combo with 2-3 pieces that are assembled together again is that 3 pieces. It's less likely to have things that interact with them. And with Crater Hoof coming down, how scary is a Crater Hoof with 2 other creatures out? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not going to win you the game. So look at Crater Hoof Behemoth like an 8 or 9 piece combo where you need all of these pieces on the board to have it work. Same thing with Sun Quan. Sun Quan with a 4/4 horsemanship with 2 other 1/1s or 2/2s in play is not fucking scary. It's when they have an army and multiple pieces on the board where they probably were in a good position anyway. And then this card puts them over the top. That is the difference between infinite combo with less amount of pieces versus creature combat and something that gives evasion or something that goes over the top. There are less pieces involved. If you fuck up their Crater Hoof with like a Settle the Wreckage, but they're done. You know what I mean? If you counter that infinite combo, that one piece that's about to go off with 2 others, they still have those 2 other pieces. If you fog their Crater Hoof or their Sun Quan for death, like that's going to kill everybody, they're done. Like they're going like.
To also add in what you were saying with that is those are, you can't just play those anytime and those work, you know, like like you mentioned the Crater Hoof early. If you don't have enough creatures, Sun Quan, you have to have the right creatures. They aren't going to do anything, especially if it's early on in the game. But if you have, I like that the analogy with it. It's almost like an 8 or 9 piece combo, but it's not infinite. It's not when you play Crater Hoof, no one can stop and do anything, and the game is over. Whereas what we're talking about is they play the spell or whatever, and no one can react to it, and everybody's dead. Like that's it can continue. If there was 2 other players or 500 other players, this still wins you the game. If it does that, you don't do that with Crater Hoof. Like if you had 500 other players, you're killing 3 of them, 2 of them. You know, I don't know.
So that would be my opinion of the difference between them is the amount of pieces that you have involved.
Yeah, I like that thought of the Crater Hoof is more of like an 8 piece. It's a side piece, 8 side piece. All right, we are an hour and 30 almost. We should probably. Was there anything else you wanted to say about it?
Okay, The replacements or the effects of getting rid of infinite combos. You're gonna create different deck styles. You're not gonna rely on how do I win in this deck, where it's like, okay, well, you're green, black, blue, you fit in these infinite combos. And again, you're creating different deck choices when generally we're saying be on theme or a system of what you want to have going on. Synergies, that's the word because it's in my notes. And so
Kid can't even read. Dang it, I don't have my button up.
that is what I've found, because oftentimes if I'm going through like Facebook posts or deck suggestions, they're like, how do I win the game? And then everybody goes, hey, you have this one card, add in these two, and then you can go infinite. And not saying it's easier, but like it's not in synergy, it's not in it. To me, it's not necessarily making the deck worse or better. It's just going like you're going with what's easy, and that's again not easy because it's just deck choices, right?
Big sigh.
You're
just like trying to get.
I don't want to downplay it because people can play infinite combos if you want. Just understand, like
if it's
your yum. To sit down and I can tell you, I don't run tutors that say tutors. I don't play infinite combo, and I don't play counterspells. People are going to be like, "You're fucking casual." And I sat down with people that consider themselves high powered. They went, they had infinite combos, they had counterspells, they had all those things. And by the end of the night, they're like, "Oh, your decks are good."
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, because like synergize, things work together. I'm drawing enough cards to see stuff. I didn't win every game, but nobody was laughing at me doing nothing either. There is that difference. And so if you want to play infinite combos, play them, but don't feel like you have to.
Right.
Again, don't use it as a crutch. Don't use any of these cards as a crutch if you don't want to play them.
That's the theme of this episode. It should be, don't allow these things to be your crutch. Are you dying over there, buddy?
Yeah.
Because each one can be your crutch, and the same could be said for protection stuff, but you need protection. Like, it can be a crutch. I was going to kind of make that devil's advocate with the counterspell part, but the counterspells, I think the whole theme of this is don't make this your crutch. And that's the thing. You have brought up, you don't use Crater Hoofs or Cyclonic Rifts, and those Cyclonic is kind of my crutch in a way when I'm like, I don't have enough removal and I'm playing blue. Okay, Cyclonic Rift is in there. I have an answer for everything.
Sure.
But I've tried to use it less, and the big staples that I like to use, like Crater Hoof isn't in my Daryl deck. Crater Hoof is not in my Kaima deck, which is the most two recent green decks that I have. Do I have another green deck?
Yeah.
Oh, is Akiri green? Yeah. It's not in Akiri because it doesn't fit in the theme, so the only time now that Crater Hoof is going to be in a deck is when it's a go wide, when it's a meat force type deck where all I'm doing is making a shit ton of creatures, as many as I can. Yeah. Because it doesn't fit. I don't need to just stick that in there and use it as my crutch for my game winner. I can figure out other things.
And again, okay, so I know I have Crater Hoof in one deck. I have a Nikia, which is an all creature deck. And I'm like, okay, this is one of the best creatures. Let's kind of do this. I can fucking do that easier with Nikia. It's a game ender. I can kind of move forward with that. And I know I have Cyclonic Rift and Glenn, and I want to say I have it in one other, but I can't remember which. It might be a Layla. But those are the only two decks that I have that in. And again, it's when you're doing this, like making decks, playing games, gold fishing as much as, when you get comfortable with where you are as a deck builder, what you can do is go, okay, you know what? This actually needs, we were talking about this last episode with like glue cards. I personally have no problem with glue cards. I will fucking use Dockside Extortionist all day as long as I'm not going infinite with it, right?
All right.
I have that, and I'll fucking copy it. I'll fucking blink it. Yeah. And I'm going to get as much mana as I fucking can because it's a fucking fantastic card to allow me to do what I want to do. And that's where Solemn is. That's where a lot of the cards that I talked about last week were. And people probably get tired of Dockside Extortionist. I get it. And I can see, like I've seen a lot of infinite stories with it. But when you have that rule of not going infinite, I don't think it becomes as annoying.
Right.
That, again, my opinion. But when you have those game enders, I want to use them sparingly because they imprint on people more. I don't want to Crate Hoof in every green deck. I don't want a Cyclonic Rift in every blue deck, even though it really could work and be really, really good in the deck. And that's why Cyclonic Rift is so drunk everywhere. And
whoa, wait, you're getting other meanings for words? You're not good at those. Remember, we established this last week when
when I can't say words when I'm sober, I learn how to say things differently.
Backshadowing, pulverizing was another word for crush. Just see what I did there?
So again, develop your own way of building decks. I think we're going to have a bigger conversation, like a wider conversation on this with CMD Tower, where this is still in talks and development, but there's a lot of choices that can go into deck building, but you need to become comfortable in deck building.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what other people say, but you do need to worry about what other people are playing and what level their skill is at, what level their deck is at. And you need to take in a lot of different factors. So, but you need to be comfortable with that. And you can ask questions ongoing like, hey, how do I deal with this? That becomes a very in-depth deck building concern, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is as simple as the counterspell part of accept that you can't deal with that. Sometimes every color is supposed to have their weaknesses. And if you want to somehow combat life gain in a mono green deck, like if somebody goes infinite against a mono green, what are you going to do? You just accept that you lost.
Right.
You're probably going to lose.
Commander damage.
You could do that. Yeah. That's, figure out what commander you would want at mono green to be able to go commander damage. Right? Or poison, add in Triumph of the Hordes.
Oh, your favorite card.
Not my favorite card. But if I was forced to deal with infinite life on a consistent basis, I'd consider it more. I don't know. All right. Moving on. You got everything?
Yeah,
right.
I'm done. We got an hour and 35 minutes. Actually, let me move some things around here.
We're doing all right.
Yeah.